everyone. It's a beautiful day to have you here. What happens when people disappear for 100 days and the world moves on? That's the painful question now facing Kaduna State as 37 worshippers adopted during an Easter Day attack remain in bandits' captivity. They were taken during a moment of prayer and celebration. But instead of returning home to their families, they have spent more than 3 months fighting for survival in the hands of criminals. The victims were kidnapped on April 5th, 2026, when armed bandits attacked Ariko village in Kachia local government area of Kaduna State. The attack left 5 people dead, several others injured, and 37 residents taken away. Among those captured were women, children, elderly blind men, and sick residents who were already vulnerable before the attackers arrived. Now, as the victims mark their 100th day in captivity, a disturbing question is dominating conversations across Kaduna and beyond. Why are they still there? Why has the rescue operation not ended this nightmare? According to community members, the victims have endured terrible conditions while waiting for freedom. Journalist Ruben Buhari, who has continued to raise awareness about their situation, described what he said were the harsh realities facing those held by the bandits. He claimed the victims have been forced to survive without basic necessities, sleeping on bare ground, and remaining exposed to harsh weather. According to him, some have struggled with hunger, sickness, poor hygiene, and injuries caused by their difficult environment. The reports have created anger and frustration among relatives who say every additional day in captivity increases the suffering of their loved ones. For the families waiting at home, 100 days is not just a number. It represents 100 days of fear, uncertainty, and unanswered questions. The most painful accusation coming from the community is that they feel abandoned. Representatives of the affected families say the government has not shown enough urgency in securing the release of the victims, while the kidnappers continue to place demands. Mr. J.D. Ariko of Kutumi Unity Development Association alleged that the bandits have demanded a ransom of 1 billion naira and 35 motorcycles before releasing the hostages. However, he insisted that the community cannot afford such a demand and that the responsibility should not fall on ordinary citizens. Their message is clear. They do not want to negotiate with criminals. They want the government to rescue their people. But this situation raises a much bigger question about Nigeria's ongoing security crisis. If armed groups can attack communities, adopt dozens of people, and keep them for months, what does it reveal about the country's ability to protect its citizens? Kidnapping has become one of Nigeria's biggest security challenges. From rural villages to highways and schools, criminal groups have continued to exploit weaknesses in security systems, leaving many Nigerians questioning whether enough is being done to confront the problem. For the families of the Kaduna victims, the issue is not about politics. It is about survival. Every day brings new anxiety. Every phone call brings fear. Every delay creates more uncertainty about whether their loved ones will return alive. However, authorities often face difficult decisions while dealing with hostage situations. Security agencies must consider how to rescue victims without putting their lives at greater risk. Direct military action against kidnappers can be dangerous, especially when criminals hide in remote locations and use hostages as human shields. But critics argue that caution cannot become an excuse for inaction. They say a situation where citizens remain captive for months raises serious concerns about the effectiveness of Nigerian security response. The Kaduna case also highlights another issue. Why do some kidnapping victims receive national attention, while others remain forgotten? Many Nigerians argue that public pressure often determines how quickly authorities respond, leaving less visible victims vulnerable to being ignored. The families of the 37 worshippers are now demanding answers. They want to know what steps are being taken, what progress has been made, and whether there is a clear plan to bring their relatives home. The government faces a difficult challenge. It must convince Nigerians that no citizens will be abandoned, regardless of where they live or their social status, because every kidnapping case sends a message about the strength or weakness of the state. The victims from Ariko village were not taken from a battlefield. They were worshippers attacked during a religious celebration. Their story represents the fear experienced by countless communities across Nigeria where insecurity has changed the way people live, travel, work, and even pray. After 100 days, the question is no longer only about the 37 victims. It is about whether Nigerians can stop criminal groups from holding citizens hostage for months without consequences. The families are still waiting. Kaduna is still asking questions, and the country is watching. Will the government secure the release of these victims and prove that no Nigerian life can be ignored? Or will this become another painful chapter in Nigerians' long struggle against kidnapping and insecurity? What do you think? Is enough being done to rescue Nigerians held by bandits? Or has the kidnapping crisis reached a dangerous level? Share your thoughts in the comments below. If you find this report informative, kindly like this video and subscribe to the channel for more in-depth analysis of the biggest story shaping Nigeria, Africa, and the world. I'm Chidera Isom. Thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next reports.